What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the decidedly debonair Dr. Disaster, and there are just so many people within and around the gaming industry who just don't understand how it all works and what things mean that it is simply staggering.
But let me tell you something, folks. You can't fix stupid.
For example, there were a lot of people out there trying to defend this game here, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, a game which a few weeks ago I described when it released as looking very similar to the likes of Dustborn, and I described how it appeared to be a massive flop. It was just another example of a game trying to force the girl power brand into an industry where it just isn't wanted. There simply isn't much of a market for a video game like that.
Don't you want it?
How about no?
As I said, a lot of people were defending this game in the comment section of my video, but take a look at the numbers over on Steam if you don't believe me that this thing was a flop. The defenders of this game sparred with me because on release day, the game briefly dipped into the top 10 bestsellers on Steam, but considering that there was absolutely no competition, and considering these numbers here, the fact that they couldn't even hit 2,000 concurrent players on that platform is pathetic. And at the time of this recording, they are at barely over 200 players right now, with a little over 400 concurrent players at its max in the past day. Those numbers are really bad for a brand new release. This game is a certified flop.
I'm the champion of failure.
Well, this post from LinkedIn has been going around on social media showing that the modern audience types may finally be conceding that the game failed. But in this post, this person, who is an entertainment lawyer, rags on people for not supporting this game. This person goes on and on about how activists failed Lost Records, and the post has become a bit viral because what it does is perfectly illustrate what so many of us in the gaming spaces have been saying for a long-ass time, that the modern audience who wants this type of shit-lib progressivism in games is actually pretty small and has nothing to back up all the big talk behind it.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. Now, let's dive into what is being said about Lost Records Bloom and Rage. As a reminder, this was developed by a company called Don't Nod, which is made up of devs from the original Life is Strange games. So this is kinda in the same vein as a Life is Strange title. And you know, that was a genre that had a bit of a following for a while, but the audience for that has basically dried up. There were a whole bunch of supporters of that type of modern audience crap in the mid-2010s, but it has gradually faded away, adding support to the claims of many of us that the people who invaded gaming a decade or so ago, pushing progressive feminist drivel into gaming, were tourists. Because the thing is, I gotta ask, where are all these people now? They swarmed in for a few years when it was the trendy thing to do, when everyone who saw an episode of The Big Bang Theory wanted to pretend that they were geeks, and had always been geeks, and that they were into video games. But the well has dried up, and now the only stuff that sells well are the things that gamers, not these tourists, but gamers have always loved. games with attractive characters, good story, and interesting gameplay, bereft of political crap. But anyhow, with all of that context in mind, let's read this post here. It says, "The penny still hasn't dropped for many consumers. I was browsing reaction to the Lost Records reviews this morning and couldn't believe what I was reading. The reviews aren't that great. I'll wait for episode 2. I was interested, but I'm gonna pass." These sentiments coming from self-selecting consumers who are presumably interested in its themes and would claim to be supportive of its developer, but who are still withholding commitment. To reiterate, as a consumer, these are the ways you support a product. Number 1, buy it full price, ideally pre-ordering it, and ideally buying the deluxe version. Number 2, play it. And number 3, get other people to buy it and play it. Anything else pales in significance to those 3 things. You have to support what you want to see. This is particularly true if you are advocating for niche or varied types of release. What you say or post does not matter. What you do, and especially what you spend, does. If you want more of a certain type of game or theme or protagonist, you cannot afford to fence sit. You must buy. In the case of Lost Records, the developer Don't Nod has lost 90% of its market cap over the past 5 years. It has done everything that advocates and activists have clamored for during that period to consistent commercial failure, including the pretty good Banishers. If it doesn't get a hit soon, it will have to lay more people off and it will go out of business. Then those same people will mourn and decry the state of the games industry or dearth of diverse female protagonists, to which the only possible retort should be, did you buy Lost Record at launch? And now, at the very end of this post, which we aren't actually going to get to in this video, but at the end of it, this person reveals that actually they are a fan of this game and they want it to succeed. It's hard to tell that though in what we're reading, because he or she is speaking complete truth here. This is how a free market works. Someone makes something, and if you don't support it, or if there aren't enough of you out there to support it, then that thing stops being made. But let's read a little bit more here. This person makes a perfect argument for why these game developers need to stop trying to force this girl boss garbage down our throats. I couldn't have made the argument better myself, though I don't expect that this person was actually trying to make the argument that I'm going to infer from it. This person wrote, "At the same time, a lesson for companies across media about who and what to value. What people say means nothing. A criticism from someone is meaningless if they don't routinely spend money and time on your products." Yes, this is exactly right. If some feminist whines about, we'll say, Space Marine 2, as an example. Space Marine 2 didn't feature any women, and that makes the feminists really angry. But who gives a shit? They weren't going to buy it anyway. Gamers are mostly male, and that might bother some people out there, but tough shit. These developers need to remember their actual audience and stop focusing on the imagined or desired audience. But let's read just a little bit more. Take book talk/romantasy books. That is an area that is consistently mocked and derided. Those opinions mean nothing. What matters? The people spending hundreds of dollars a year on books. Likewise, core fans of a genre property are more valuable than a speculative viewer who might watch if you changed X or Y. You cannot afford to alienate a consumer spending hundreds a year on your IP, and so it is with games. The most valuable consumers are those who spend the most time and money playing games, especially games within a genre. Robin Boyar wrote an excellent post last week on target audience, and I would add an additional question. What do people who spend over $250 a year on games and spend over 100 hours a year in our genre think? Why $250? Because unless you are From or Larian, it's naive to think that someone who buys 3 games a year is going to make your game one of the 3. Bingo. These modern game developers need to start acting like there is competition out there, because there is. The Chinese are coming for Western developers' asses, and while I don't relish the idea of the market being controlled and or dominated by the Chinese, the market is going to gravitate toward anyone, even a somewhat hostile and self-interested country, but toward anyone who makes games that customers want. This is a lesson that more of these studios need to absolutely take to heart. The modern audience buzzword that has become such a big part of the gaming lexicon is actually code for a group of people who are too small to support anything substantial. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of anyone who thinks the modern audience is actually the majority of gamers into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.